I'm very proud to say that I play guitar with colors. Thank you for letting me have a playing board. For bestowing this honor upon us. It's a thrill to be here to join the ranks of all the incredible artists who have already been inducted. I'm blessed to be in a band that has in some way made a contribution to the music. This is quite an acknowledgement of that tonight. Quick story, just so you know how quickly this thing goes. In 1956, I was 3 years old and I saw Elvis on TV. I immediately got a comb and a glass of water and asked my mom to comb my hair in a spit curl, just like Elvis did. Then I grabbed my Mickey Mouse guitar and checked myself out in the mirror to try and look like as much of a rock and roller as a 3-year-old could. So from that moment to lead to this one tonight has been a long, crazy, twisted river, and I wouldn't change a moment of it. How lucky I am to have realized and to live my childhood dreams in a way there's still sort of a dream-like quality to all of us. Just a few words to thank some of the people who have helped us so much along the way. First, I'd like to thank Jeff Kramer and the rest of the crew at OK Management, Danny, Cindy, Brian. You've all done such a great job for the band and have made it possible to do more than I could have ever imagined. Thanks, Jeff, for always steering the ship in the right direction. Thanks, Miss Chloe Joe Smith and Electra Records for believing in us and giving us a chance to make a record in the first place and get the whole ball rolling. And much later, thank you to Rhino Records for doing such a great job with our issues and deluxe editions of our albums, as we call them albums. Thank you to our producers, Ray Thomas Baker and Mike Ryan, for doing such a great job of capturing what we do in the best possible light, enhancing the music and making it sound great on the radio. It sounds great on stereos. In the very early days of the band, we had an angel in the form of a lady named Maxine Sartori, a top DJ at WPCN in Boston from the city's biggest FM rock station. And Maxine did an amazing thing. She began to play our demo tape in heavy rotation alongside all the biggest records of the day. It actually started being recorded in radio tip sheets like the Gap Report and the rest of them. So it would say something like, "The Cars, just what I needed," and then the column where the record label would normally be, it said, "Tape." So that really got the attention of the A&R staffs and labels, and representatives of major labels started flying up to Boston from New York to check out this band, The Cars, whose demo tape got so much airplay that it was actually being recorded on a national level. Maxine did that, and we will forever be indebted to her for her incredible support in getting this thing going. Thanks to Mr. Rock crew, who were there with us from the beginning and stayed to the end. Some are no longer with us, but the rest will be there whenever we do something new, right up to the present day. Keep going, keep going. Rick, Ben, and Greg, my fellow bandmates. Greg, who did so much to help define the band's distinctive sound, and who always helped foster a sort of workshop atmosphere in the studio, and who had such a great creative time with it, bouncing ideas off each other from melodic lines, hooks, arrangements, and all the rest of the process whereby a great song is made into a great record. Well, everyone in the band worked on all that stuff, and everyone's ideas were always taken into consideration. David, whose rock-solid drumming always provided the foundation for all that followed, and for his contributions to the band's image, naming the band, creating our logo, and art directing all of our iconic album covers, working tirelessly with the label's art department, making sure that they always look great. And we all know one thing for sure, it all begins with a great song. Without that, none of this would exist. The music business, radio, the Hall of Fame, all of it. Without a great song, there's nothing. And in Rico Classic, we have an incredible songwriter whose songs gave the band such a wonderful platform and framework for the rest of us to be creative and do the best work of our lives. And they still sound great today. That's right. Finally, Benjamin, who's sadly no longer with us, but whose incredible voice, solid bass playing, and good humor was such a huge part of the band's success. Not a bad-looking guy either. Cleveland is Ben's hometown. and even more so than with her here of all places. To my wife Jill, who spent many years in this business of ours as a senior VP at A&M Records, and my daughter Sydney, your love, support, and patience in putting up with the life of a musician has meant more to me than I could ever express in words. I love you both to the moon and back. Finally, to my mom, a Juilliard-trained singer who's incredible, on a level with a Garland or a Rosemary Clooney, and gave up a career to raise a family, but who gave me the gift of music and let me pass that gene on to my daughter, who's an amazing singer. So you might say that music is sort of a family business. My mom was my biggest fan and shared in the joy of our success, and I always felt like I was doing this for both of us. And I know that she's smiling down at me from wherever she is, and so happy and proud tonight. Thank you, Mom. Thank you all very much.
That statue is too heavy a burden for me to hold. So in 1964, I was 11 years old, and I'd been taking piano lessons for three or four years, and frankly, I was kind of getting bored with it and wanted to give them up. But one day, my dad came home and said, well, I've got tickets to go see the Beatles. But if you want to go, you've got to sign up for another year of piano lessons. Back then, I thought that was a pretty good deal. And I still think that's a pretty good deal. So, I'd like to thank my dad for that pretty good deal. And the other side of the story is that I have to acknowledge that if it weren't for the Beatles, I don't think it ever would have occurred to me that I wanted to be in a band. I'd like to also say thanks to Roy Thomas Baker, who produced the first 4 Cars albums and helped define the sound of the Cars. Roy came to see us play during a snowstorm in Massachusetts with about 20 or 30 people in the audience in a high school gym, and he still agreed to produce our first album on the spot. Thanks, Roy. And I'd also like to thank Mutt Lange for his contribution to the Heartbeat City album. If you ever worked for the Cars, I'd like to say thank you. And there's a few that I'd just like to mention by name. Andy Topeka, Tom Moore, Joe Estrella, Brian Sklarz, David Hegelmeyer, Julia Channing, Gene Amoroso, Steve Berkowitz, Richard Fernandez, Elliot Roberts, and Lookout Management. And I'd like to say thanks to Jeff Kramer and everybody at OK Management. And I'd especially like to say thanks in particular for springing for the extra tables for tonight. And I have my own personal Hall of Fame that I would like to say thanks to. My friends Mark Bolan and Howard Kalin, whose history speaks for themselves. With the Turtles, the Mother of Invention, and on their own as Flo. They were probably the closest thing to having mentors that I ever had. I'd like to give a nod of appreciation to Todd Rundgren, who's been one of my since before I was ever in the Cars. And I'd like to say thanks to Martin Mull, who gave me my first professional job in the music business. And I'd like to say thanks to Kraftwerk and Devo just for being so cool. I'd like to say thanks to my family for being here tonight. My wife Elaine and I got married the same year the Cars started, so she's seen it all. My kids, Ian and Andy, are here tonight. I love you guys. And I'd like to say thanks to the Cars fans, who are the real reason we're here. And I know that some of you voted for us every single day in the fan poll. Not only this year, but the 2 previous previous years when we didn't get in. And so, thank you very much for that. And finally, I'd like to give my acknowledgement to Ben Orr. How fitting that we are in Cleveland. Without Ben's innate talent and his rock star good looks, it's unlikely that we would be up here tonight. Thank you very much.
This is a great honor. That's right. We've been together off and on for 42 years and look up our history online, so that's with that. But also I thank everybody on Apple covers, but I never thank that we play in the band. I can't believe that I'm here and I will be a Hall of Fame musicians that have meant so much to me. I can't even describe what that's like. Everybody knows about the power of rock and roll, the magic, and it's here. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off with a couple of little-known facts about the Cars. When the band first started, Ben was supposed to be the lead singer, and I was supposed to be the good-looking guy in the band. But after a couple of gigs, I kind of got demoted to the songwriter, so I went with that one. But obviously, it's hard not to notice that Benjamin Orr is not here. He would have been elated to be here on the stage. It's kind of strange to be up here without him. We miss him and love him dearly. So anyways, say that I want to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for inducting us. We always like to be abducted. And firstly, I'd like to thank my wheelchair grandmother for forcing me to sing in the parlor in front of her friends when I was 5 years old. She also had the nerve to buy me a guitar, the Sears and Roebuck, when I was about 14. And I heard this song on the radio called That'll Be the Day by Buddy Holly. I thought, you know, I have to start playing guitar. So I have to thank her for that. I also would like to thank my manager, Jeff Kramer, my closest and dearest friend at Lookout Management. And I'd like to thank Cindy Osborne there, and Danny Bernard, and Brian Higgins. And another little mention about Roy Thomas Baker. I have to thank him. He was a wonderful producer. He kept us laughing in the dark. And it was a perfect storm. Eccentric Roy took us to London, England, and we recorded our first album in 12 days. So that was great. During our legendary days, we had Elliot Roberts as a manager during our growing years. I have to also thank Electra Records. Joe Smith back then was the guy who signed us. That was probably 1,000 years ago. I'd like to thank Peter Thal and this guy named Bert Fidel who took care of us in the 80s. Richard Fernandez, our road manager, has been with us for almost, I guess, every tour we ever did. Always got us where we wanted to go. David Hakelmeyer, who's our right-hand man. I wanted to thank, got to thank Brandon Flowers for all the wonderful adjectives. Thanks Scott Schreiner from Weezer, who's going to be playing bass with us tonight. Also, Mario Pestani, the guy who's watching our our chips. You know what chips are. Right? I want to thank Lawrence Ferlinghetti and Richard Brodigan and even Bob Dylan for just writing the kind of words they can write. But anyway, I wouldn't be standing here at all if it wasn't for Benjamin or Ray Boggs and David Robinson. And I think they're really the sound of the Cars. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my loving family because they know me pretty well, but they still like me anyway. So, I lived in Cleveland for a while. It was actually the first place I ever played music in front of people. And it was at a hootenanny here, and I think it was about 20 blocks away. So,